check 1 2 1 2. JC Hannigan, come over here and mic check.
Mic check.
Is this thing on?
Mic check.
Yeah,
Mic
a little
check.
mic check.
Hello.
Hello. Let's do this. You're like, oh my God.
Oh my God, did you mean to do that? Also, you should read that.
I will. Oh, why did you write?
The inside. Well, you should.
You did not. She gave me her own my own copy of JC's book. She wrote that to me. I have her signature and you do not.
You can get it.
I'm sure it could be arranged. Here we go. Welcome to another episode of The Tiffany Show, your TV, Peterborough, Lindsay. I'm your host, Tiffany Arcari, and welcome. Come on in. Our guest today, JC Hannigan. JC, hello. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
It's a vibe. It's a vibe in here.
It is. It is a total vibe.
What are you drinking from Canoe Cafe?
I'm having a vanilla bean frappuccino.
Oh, can't go wrong with the vanilla bean frap. I've got an Americano misto with skim. Beautiful sunshiny day in downtown PTBO. But if you're watching this, I don't know, it could be raining.
It could be.
Could be snowing.
Hopefully it's not.
Nobody
oh my gosh.
knows.
No drinking.
None of that.
Don't say that.
As I said, JC Hannigan, you are our special guest today. So we got connected through like a few different people in the community. And last year, I shoulder tapped you to see if you would plug into our International Women's Day event.
Yes, that was so fun.
You crushed.
I was so nervous.
Oh, JC, you know what? I was sitting with you on the stage, so I could like feel you in that moment. And then once you were there and that mic hit, it was like game on.
Boom.
There was like, it just came over you.
I was shaking so much. I'm like, I'm so sorry, people.
So sorry. Stop you.
Just shaky. But it was an experience. It was crazy having that many people in the audience, and just, I don't think I've ever talked about myself to that many people before.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess you're usually up telling the stories that you have. Of course, you're an author. We're going to get into that. Maybe you could tell us about yourself today. Hometown fun facts, likes, dislikes. Maybe there's a secret about you that nobody knows.
Okay, so I grew up in Newtonville, Ontario.
Where's Newtonville?
It's kind of near Newcastle. It is near
Okay.
and Orno, and kind of like right near the highway.
A hop, skip, and a jump?
Yeah, it's fairly close. I'm now in Norwood, which is 20-ish minutes down 7.
Newton, hot, skip, and a jump just
Newtonville,
outside
yeah.
of Newtonville.
Newtonville. Yeah.
It makes me think of Fig Newtons. I'm
Yes,
not
it
going to lie.
does, yeah.
I immediately was thinking about cookies.
Now I want cookies.
Right?
Yeah.
So you grew up, born, raised there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Small town. Well, not even rural country.
You're
Yeah.
a country girl.
Country girl.
Oh, like what kind of country? Like farm country or backwoods country?
Farm.
Farm?
Lots of farm around where we were. We had a
Okay.
creek running through our property. It was beautiful. I loved it.
And for those of you that don't know, her wonderful husband is here. He's like the equivalent of the Gideon in my world. It's
Yes.
like the constant support.
Yes.
Little shout out to husband Matt.
I told him he had to be here so I could picture him in his underwear, not my underwear.
Either or, whatever you do.
You know what? That might help. So I was a little nervous. I didn't know how many people would be watching. You have to go.
But see, it's like a conversation between friends, right?
Yes,
On a
it
little
is.
bit of a different level, but we had to bring Matt into the picture because, of course, we've all got those support systems, right?
Also, driving in Peterborough.
Ooh,
Yeah.
right, because you live just outside, right?
Yes, and he has a big truck that I know how to drive, but just parking in downtown Peterborough.
Oh,
Makes
okay,
me-
that's fair. That's fair. I don't actually. Fun fact: I don't drive. Yeah, a lot of people are surprised about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in an accident when I was young.
Oh,
And I was stuck. My friend had crashed the car, and I was like stuck in the air, and the seatbelt was stuck on me.
Oh,
and
God.
I'm pretty confident that was the day I decided I was never going to drive a vehicle.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that.
No.
No.
People are always surprised, but Peterborough's like a 15-minute town, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, my husband likes to take, well, I don't know if he likes to take me everywhere.
He takes
But
me.
20 years in, he better will like it.
He's just driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah, true enough, eh? Do you have any books in the vault that you haven't launched yet?
I do have one cooking now. I like to say I'm cooking them because
A book in the oven?
Yep,
Like a
I got
bun in the oven?
I got a book in the oven. Yeah, I've got so many plans for the future for books. It's just I'm not writing fast enough to think of them all. Like you know, I have like this whole thing planned out. So there's a lot of books coming, a lot of them down the pipe, ones I have to finish.
You know what? Most creatives are like that, right? Lots of projects on the go, lots of things that we could be doing that we think about all the time. Sometimes we like guilt and shame ourselves for not picking up some of those pieces, right? Which is not the best way to treat ourselves, especially as creatives.
Creative brains are different. And I do find I'm like a continuous thought with my books, and they all kind of have Easter eggs. So yeah.
Love that.
So like I'll write a series, but I'll have Easter eggs in that series for a different series, and then I'll go write that other series and then go back. Like I'm all over the place because I'm just telling these stories that are interconnected.
How to map it out like that too. That's really special, right? Like, and oh my gosh. And then when it becomes its own Netflix series, the Easter eggs will be all in the show and all that. We dream big here on the Tiffany Show. So JC, you said you just lived just outside of Peterborough. How long have you been in the area?
We moved here in 2021.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're relatively new to PTBO being home.
I did briefly go to school at Fleming.
Okay, what'd you take?
I took social service work for a bit.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And your hubby, did you two meet and then come here? Were you here and then you met?
We met in Bowmanville. Oh. Yeah. So, and we've been lots of places together. We moved up to North Bay for a spell for him to go to school.
Oh, what's he do?
He's a welder.
Oh my gosh, that's a hot job.
Yeah.
Temperature wise. I didn't mean that in a weird way. I promise. Matt over there.
He's blushing. Actually, the inspo for the coalescence book I wrote about a single dad welder.
Oh, yeah, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So we spent probably like 4 years in North Bay, give or take. 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Had our second child there and then came back down south.
Oh my gosh. So how long have you two been together then?
16 years, I want to say.
When's your anniversary?
February is the dating one.
Ooh, yeah.
And July is the married.
Got married. See, I doubled up. So we started dating November 4th. Oh. And then we got married November 4th.
That's smart.
Because I didn't want to be like, we dated for X. I just totaled them all.
That is annoying, but I didn't want a February wedding because at the time we were in North Bay and I knew family
nobody
would
wants
not travel.
That info. Yeah, valid. That's valid. Nobody wants a snowstorm for their wedding for
so
sure.
We waited for summer.
So when it comes to life experiences, the journey that you're on, I know that you have a bit of a story. You shared like a snapshot of that with us at International Women's Day, and you are going to see their talks coming out soon. I did get a copy of their speeches actually at the event, and I've just been waiting to carve them up and share them. So you'll see those come out. But today, in conversation, I thought we could talk about life, maybe some of the challenging things that you've encountered that have taught you an important lesson.
Born with a chronic pain bone disorder called multiple hereditary exostoses. So essentially I have extra bones, like bone growths, benign tumors all over my body, like on the long bones and the joints and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I've had mobility issues. I've had upwards of 30 surgeries. I stopped counting because,
wow.
I got to 30 and was like, okay, that's big enough number to tell people.
Right.
So I've had a lot of surgeries. My first surgery was very dramatic. Very dramatic.
How old were you? Do you mind if I ask?
I was in grade 2, so I think I was about 7, give or take. Yeah, I was really tiny, and they were like, you know what? It's going to be in and out. It's going to be easy peasy. You'll have a cast. You can pick the color. I picked pink. I was so excited.
I love that.
Well, not like excited.
No,
excited
I get you. Love the pink. Yeah.
And I went in there, and they didn't realize that I also had a bleeding disorder. So, yeah, they started operating, and I was bleeding from the bone, and they were like, what is going on? They stitched me up as best they could, but I was still bleeding afterwards. My foot swelled, like my whole leg swelled up, and they had to cut the cast off and put me into an emergency surgery to drain it. And then I had another surgery a few days later to stitch everything back up. And that was our first introduction to surgeries with this condition.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty dramatic for my parents, probably. I mean, I don't remember, I remember, but I don't remember the way that they would.
Oh my.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Had they experienced kind of anything in the family up until that point?
I have a rare genetic mutation. We did testing when I was pregnant with my firstborn, and nobody in my family has it. So,
Wow.
yep. One of Matt's friends joked like I'm an X-Men. Like, a mutant, can grow extra bones, but just not as quick and fun.
Not as cool.
Yeah.
Really, wow. It takes a warrior to face that time after time after time.
Yeah. So there was quite a bit of surgeries, but once they learned that I had the bleeding disorder, they obviously tackled it differently.
Right? Valid, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And it's interesting to repeatedly face that surgery challenge over 30 times and honestly still carry the light that you carry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I kind of have to. I don't know. I feel like, holding on to happiness and the good glimmers of life, right? That's really important to see yourself through all the dark days.
Is there somebody specific that like in those moments it's like pushed you on?
Well, since meeting my husband, he's been a huge push in that direction. He always keeps me laughing. I remember one of my surgeries, he's sitting there changing my boot and he's like, oh, what did he say? He's like, I feel like I'm dressing what did you say?
Dress up, you're like getting Master Chief ready.
Getting Master Chief ready for battle. But he just makes me
a Halo reference.
a nerdy Halo.
I knew it was nerdy.
So, he keeps me laughing and yeah, definitely.
Is he like your opposite? Like Gideon's like the yin to my yang. He's absolutely the opposite to me. And
I'd say we're opposites, but we're also twin flames. It's really an interesting dynamic with us. Like when I'm down, he's up. When he's down, I'm up, and we just kind of pull each other back up. Like, oh, you tripped. Here you go.
Oh, it's so amazing to have those partners in life, right? And the people that we can really, really rely on, and the ones who pull us out of those moments, and kind of keep us right here in the here and now. Would you say that becoming an author, kind of exploring that journey, has that been like one of the biggest risks that you've taken, or what is a risk that you've taken that has paid off?
It's scary publishing a book, like getting your story out there, putting it out there for other people to consume and have opinions on. That's scary stuff, and that would be a bit of a risk to do. But for me, it was also kind of like a saving thing. Like I was in the thicket of raising little babies at home. When you're just like, okay, I got to do something else for me. I have to do something for me.
Something to pour into. Yeah.
So that saved me and kept me sane.
What was the first book you wrote?
Collide.
Yeah.
It questions the morals, right? Like when you're reading it, you're rooting for them, but then by the end of the series, you're kind of like, huh.
There's a few books I've read like that where I'm like, I read it, was like in it, reading it, and then you kind of sit back and reflect, and you're like, I don't know, that was fundamentally
that was kind of
thought-provoking, right? Kind of makes you think about things from a different perspective. And when it comes to different perspectives, the challenges that you faced in your life, how would you say those have shaped the way you move, the way you treat people?
Oh, I always go into it thinking you don't know what somebody's going through, so kindness really matters. Being the best person that you can be, really. Everybody has moments in their life that are struggling and difficult to deal with, and just breathing through it and remembering you survived these before and you'll survive this one, and there'll be better times and days, Writing, even before I was a published author, writing romance books, journaling, blogging, all of that, just having that creative outlet to focus and pour and even work through things. So something that I would find conflicting that I couldn't really understand the purpose behind. I'm a very sensitive person, so I'd get hurt by random things and I'd have to journal about it to work through it. And
Were you always a journaler, or did somebody get you in that habit?
My parent, I credit my parents a lot for the writing and the reading. I'm a very big reader. I read all the time. But they knew that I would need a creative distraction.
Right.
So they introduced me to reading. And then they would buy me any books that I wanted. I could libraries all the time. My dad would go to Chapters. He'd bring home stacks of books. He was the one who introduced me to Harry Potter back in the day.
So you're a Scholastic kid.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean when I'm referencing?
Fairs,
the Scholastic bookstore. There was incomparable.
When they'd come to the school, I'd be like, I need the money. I'd go and I'd just buy so many different books.
Bring it back for adults,
For adults, they're definitely still at the schools, but we need to have an adult version. Yeah, for sure.
I remember Clueless, the 90s. So one of the books I got from Scholastic was like your dreams and what they mean. And I'm not even kidding. It had 2 feather pens.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like you shared, like the journey that you've been through. There's like so much going on, and undoubtedly those adversities that you face, those really tough times. What has it been that pushes you forward?
My kids. Yeah. I know that's, well, I wouldn't say it's cliche to say.
It's not. Some people don't like their kids.
I like mine. They're pretty cool. But I always had this dream that, like, with my writing and with my books and my stories, I could create like a safety net for them, because they actually both have my condition too. So they're going through the surgeries and the bad pain days, and I just wanted something that could live on. Like Anne Rice, passed her stuff on to her son, so that he could continue to profit off her career after she was gone. And I find that's kind of like my end game, is like
the generational wealth.
Yeah. After I'm gone, this is going to just hold you up when you need it.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to your wee ones. Is there like an organization that does specific research or studies on this?
There is the MHE Foundation and the Bumpy Bones Club. And it's mostly states-based, because oh gosh, when I was little, I think I was the only known person with it in Ontario as far as I knew. And now it's like I've got a friend in London whose daughter has it. And like, like the internet has made everybody closer. I've got 2 of my closest friends, Lauren and Taylor. Taylor lives in the UK. She's got MHE. She's actually a rock star.
Oh my! Yeah, like a real rock star, or like
she's
a rock star.
She's the lead singer of a band called Not Now Norman.
That's so cool.
So she's written a song about MHE. So
really,
yeah.
There seems to be a need for more awareness and conversation around that. We maybe
you wouldn't see it unless you know what to look for, unless you're paying close attention. So it's not invisible in the sense that there is physical limb differences and whatnot. Like you can see the bones and the scars, and sometimes the limbs will be a little deformed from the growth.
Okay.
So you can see it, but it's one of those things. There's many different variations of it. So like you can have just like 1 or 2 bumps and kind of not have any issues, or you could have a lot. Yeah.
Just all the variables. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, because it's not easy. It's very personal. It's a very, very personal journey. But honestly, thank you. We don't know who's watching this that may know somebody to know, like, still chase those dreams. Like, look at JC. How many books have you published now?
15. This is my 15th book.
No way. And when was your first one published? Like, how many years ago?
I want to say that it first came out in 2013. I published it independently at first, and then I got picked up by a indie or a hybrid company. But they ended up going under a few years later.
Aww,
but luckily, I got all my rights back to my book. So
you were okay, because that's what I immediately was like. Oh no.
Yeah, normally that's not the case, but
how did you get yours protected?
It was just in the contract that we had signed with this particular hybrid. As if anything ever happened to them and they had to go under, you would get your original copies back. You'd have to re-edit them and get different covers and all of that, which I did. And then I republished everything in 2014. So
now, did you self-republish in 2014?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I decided to stick with it just because of that one experience. It wasn't like, but it was very scary. To not know for sure. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I was like, I'll just stick to indie. And now I format my own books. I have like a side gig doing formatting.
I was going to say, you do editing for, I know a few people that send their stuff to you for editing. And do you do copywriting as well?
I am currently doing that with a friend who has she runs Markham Home for the holidays.
Oh, cool.
So I'm helping her with that and her social media and all that jazz. I'm kind of like a Jill of all trades. And
when you were little, did you want to be an author because your parents had all the writing and the reading? And
I did. I used to make little covers at my desk.
Oh, please. That's so cute.
And it was always JC Hannigan because my maiden name is Hannigan and my initials were JC. So
oh my gosh. So when you were little, did you go by JC as well then? Oh, no.
No,
Okay.
I go by Jess. My name's Jessica.
I didn't know your name was Jessica. I was totally leading up to that. Speaking of little you,
Little me.
if little JC were sitting with us right now, what would you tell that little girl?
We did it. That's pretty much all I'd say. Is I was always scared that I wouldn't find a niche for myself growing up, that I wanted to be an author, but it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So I would just say we did it.
What do you think made it happen?
I had a friend that I met through blogging. I started a blog when I was 15 called Miss Misery Smiles. Because, emo.
Oh my God. Hey, that was all of us.
You know what? I won a bloggy at one point. So, best teen web blog.
Do you still run it?
No.
Oh, okay. I had to ask.
No, that shut down forever ago. But and then I met some friends through that. Like everybody was blogging in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
So, and one of my friends was just like, you need to write a book. Write a book. Write a book. I dare you. So I wrote a book. And thank you, Elizabeth Barone, for that push.
Oh, shout out to you, Elizabeth. 15 books later. When it comes to publishing those books, what's the biggest scary part?
The cost up front is a little,
Is it?
It's a bit intimidating.
Well,
because
am I allowed to ask?
Yeah.
Okay, you can tell me to mind my own
full
business too.
transparency. Like you're an indie author, so you're the person in charge of hiring and paying for the services to make the book a reality. Right. So the editors, the proofreaders, the formatting, the cover designs, like all of that. Yeah.
Right.
The marketing, the promoting.
That's a lot. That's a lot of hats. Like a typical entrepreneur, your hand is in every single pot. Were your parents entrepreneurs?
My dad had his own HVAC company.
Of course.
Yes, he did.
So you know what? There's one in the family.
Yeah. So I learned how to run a business from him.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he ever take you to the job site, kind of show you the ins and outs of business? Any of that kind of sharing happening? Or do you call him for business advice?
I do. Yes, he also helps me. Yeah, he's a silent investor with an opinion.
Oh, I love. And are they close?
My dad lives in Brighton with my papa, and so fairly close.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, got a little pocket, right?
Yeah, and then I got a sister next door.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all. How many siblings do you have?
I have 3 sisters.
And your mama?
Yeah, full-time stay-at-home mom.
Did she have her hands in the HVAC biz as well?
I don't think so.
No,
it was just managing all of our crazy hectic
Oh my God,
schedules.
yeah, 4 kids. That's wild.
All 3 of my sisters were into sports, so she was driving them here and there and everywhere. And then me with my medical stuff, she was taking me to appointments and managing that. That's also a full-time job too.
Absolutely it is. I feel like, and it's never, you're right. It's never just a stay-at-home mom. That's its own full-time job.
Especially.
That's your own full-time, overtime, sometimes thankless. No pay, but deeply appreciated.
Yes.
And shaping your little ones.
Generations.
Yeah. And you've got 2, you said, a boy and a girl?
No, 2 boys.
Oh, 2 boys. Yeah. Okay. And you said they're under 10?
15 and gonna be 13 in
a
week.
You have teenagers.
Yeah. I do now.
They are lucky you.
They are teenagers now. It's been a wild ride.
And are you seeing, like you said, that Matt's a welder, you're author, writer. Are you seeing kind of any of these traits in interests in the kids? Or are you just kind of nurturing them in their own passions?
They've both been interested in welding. They've done some welding jobs with Dad. Just like, trailer repairs, that kind of thing.
Cute.
They're very creative individuals.
Yeah?
And they like gaming.
Yeah. Okay.
So they both have desires to be the YouTube gamer type.
Right. Yeah. Well, I feel like welders need to be creative in their own regard anyway, because they're like problem solving, figuring it out, how they're going to get this thing to stick with, with the massive amount of heat and lava that they work with. But interesting, a whole family of creators, really, right? So in life, inevitably, we like to talk, positivity, kindness, which we kind of brought up a little bit earlier. Is there any specific situation in your life where somebody's kindness or act really changed the trajectory of your life, really impacted you?
Oh, there's been so many little moments like that. Just like I said, you hold on to the glimmers, right? So like somebody can invite you to speak on stage, for example. trajectory. I can't talk. I can write better than I can talk.
Like, you could talk great. She could just give her a hand. She's good.
But yeah, I can really change the direction in which you're going too. Because like I always pictured myself just staying at home writing my stories, but then I kind of got a taste for the public speaking thing and like going to events and like letting people know like you can do this. You can create and you can thrive.
And given any situation, the challenges that you've had, all of the things that you've been faced with, it's like you can still do this.
Yep.
If you have a story to tell,
Tell it.
tell it.
Tell it.
You just never know. You never ever know who's listening.
It's true.
Right. And yeah, what a beautiful nod to that, where it's like these small opportunities, these small actions. You're totally right. Can just completely shift.
Change you.
Yeah. Let's get JC more speaking. I feel like more sunlight could be shined on MHE.
Yeah, MHE, multiple hereditary exostoses. It all has a new name now too, which multiple osteochondromas.
Okay. See, we got to get it. Yeah.
They get harder. Every time they come out with a new name, it's harder for me to say.
We got to get them rallied together. I love that you also brought up online community and how we meet people, even in online spaces that can affect us and support us.
I love it.
So as we wrap up today, Miss JC, what is the best thing about life?
Just having it. Being a part of like everybody's life, really. Just community, family, everything. I'm very thankful.
Gratitude is everything, eh? Yeah.
You only get one, and I think you have to live it to the full potential of it. Like, don't sulk around about what you don't have, and just look at what you do have and realize how great that is. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. I try.
And finally, I try on top of writing my 15 books. A message. As we wrap up and leave everybody today, the floor is yours, JC. If you could share a message, if you could inspire somebody along the way, what is it that you want to say to those that are watching?
Don't give up.
Just keep
moving.
Going.
Keep going. Keep showing up.
It's like every inch, every breath, every action, every micro thing that we do.
It builds towards something great.
It totally does. Absolutely. JC Hannigan, you have the most beautiful eyes. I have to tell you that.
Thank you.
I'm like lovingly looking at them this whole interview. Hopefully,
I felt it.
Did you? Okay. I make eye contact with the camera. I look at you.
I know, I've been looking at you.
Yeah, right? It's good. It's good. Honestly, thank you so much. And I know you're like pushing your comfort zone for showing up for yourself, especially in spaces. And I know it's not easy to talk and show up and be on TV and all of that. And we appreciate you telling your story, because there inevitably are other people who are facing similar challenges, and they need to know that this can be done, and they need to know to keep going. This has been an episode of The Tiffany Show. My guest, JC Hannigan. I will put a link on my social media channel so you can buy her book. JC, thank you for being a light.
Thank you for having me.
Be kind, keep going, and all that good stuff.
You're looking to sell your home or cottage? You want to work with someone who knows the market inside and out. Hi, I'm Sarah Evans, born and raised in Peterborough, Ontario. I am very proud to call this great community home. Contact me today and I can promise to exceed your expectations. 705-768-6278 or visit sarahevans.ca.
Not intended to solicit those currently under contract.